we were talking a little bit about restriction and then the compensations that people do on top of that restriction. Right? Let's say my restriction in today's version of my life is this relationship between my lower rib cage and my pelvis, such that my rib cage likes to go to the left. And let's say that is something that is, well,
it's shown in your clothes, actually.
Yeah, I know. There's a whole complicated story here, just like everybody else. There's a whole complicated story. And I could echo the words of one of Richard's structural practitioners a long time ago, who said, "You should have seen me before." Right? But I have a restriction, and then my body is organizing as best it can around that. Right? It's making do with what it can around that, and it does so with the movement available. Right? So my pelvis on my femurs are going to make a little bit of a change. My upper ribs are going to make a little bit of a change. My spine makes a little change. My head. The places that can adapt are busy adapting. Right? Then I go bowling. Let's say I had a baby, then I went bowling, and now I get a different injury. And my body then takes on a new restriction and adapts as best it can with what's available. This part isn't yet available, right? So now I've got two things sort of in my system that my body's sort of negotiating. And then I get in a car accident. And my body is then negotiating a new insult with whatever is available. And I start to get layers of restriction and compensation, and restriction and compensation. And then I hear about body work. And I think, well, maybe that'll work. And I go into my session and I do the intake, and I've got all these events and all the ways known and unknown that my body has compensated for those events. And I might even have had a new event which prompted me to come, at which I say, but all I was doing was reaching behind and to pick up something from the back. Like, why would all I was doing was reaching down to pick up my shoes, right? But I was doing that in a system that already has several restrictions and compensating the best it can. And we can imagine that I don't have as much slack in the system, as much buffer in the system as I did before all these life events, right? As the practitioner, when I meet somebody like me, it can be really overwhelming. And you're sort of like, oh, okay, there's the accident in 2007, and the cesarean section then, and then the car accident there, and then the this, and then the, right? I don't have to know which thing came first, or which thing was most severe, or any of all that sort of stuff. Because what I'm working with is the system as a whole, how it's working today. And what I get to do is say, well, what's the thing now for how the body's been organizing? What's the thing that's most vivid? Is my place to start unraveling this. It's very likely there will be layers, such that the thing that's vivid that you change gets a little more neutral, and then that makes something else that was kind of in the I don't know category. All of a sudden, if you got my pelvis over my femurs, then all of a sudden my rib cage is going to go, whoa, well, maybe I'll do that. And they'll stand up and they'll be like, oh, that's a change. That's a really big change. But I don't have to second guess it, and I don't have to know which thing came first or which was more severe, any of that. I just have to know which things are most vivid in their system now. Sometimes that's the insult, the ripple effect of the insult. Sometimes it's the compensation, right? That is holding the pattern. An example of that is the person that comes in and goes, that's my bum shoulder, that's my bad shoulder, well, right? And you do all your work and you're in there in the tissue and you're kind of like, well, actually, it's really kind of quite mobile. And when you go to the right shoulder, the other one, the good one, it's like, boom, 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 because it hasn't gotten any attention. This one's gotten all the care so far, and all the stretching and the mindfulness and the icing and the, right? So working with whole body patterns, there's a little bit of a kind of I would say sort of an intellectual bowing down to the fact that humans are really complex, and I don't have to, my frontal lobe is never going to be as sophisticated as the person's cerebellum. Ever, right? So I get to say, with my frontal lobe and my hands, my skilled hands, what's available for change? What do I feel that's available for change? Has it changed? Has it not? Where does that take them now? And it's a process. Because it's a process, I'm going to expect my work to change them, which means they're going to destabilize their pattern. They're going to come back to you in some version of like, I don't quite feel myself anymore. Things are kind of a little different. I was like, good, that's an opportunity for change. Right? We may talk later today about, or tomorrow, about the sort of client education component of helping people feel, can they feel the difference of here's me settling behind my femurs, here's me taller. So see if you can see this in, not at my pelvis, femoral relationship, but in the rest of me, falling, falling. And can you notice that place where I just there got on top of my femurs? Through my whole torso, what is available to go up went up. Some parts aren't so available, right? But that's the sort of verticality, that's the upness that counters the I'm falling back and down, or to the left and down, or forward and down.
So do you teach the clients that during the treatment part, or do you teach it more of a awareness, so see where you are versus this
Richard does more of engaging clients overtly in that conversation than I do in my practice, just as a matter of course. And so I'm going to hand it over to him after I say one little tidbit, which is, as I get more neutral and up, the same principle applies. The body stabilizes me in the position I'm in. So my body is more able now to stabilize me in an up posture than it does when it stabilizes me in a down posture. Right? So up, up, up. And now my body has a chance to go, oh, here's where you want to be? Great, I'll hold you there. We'll keep this.